Hello, hello, welcome. We're discussing Neville Goddard, law of assumption, law of life, law of belief, law of being, law of attraction, law of intention, whatever you want to call it. Quantum physics, quantum mechanics. Hello, hello, how are you? Hello. Hey, P. Anthony, welcome, welcome. Just here a little early so everyone can get here. The book club meeting starts at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have one more chapter after this one. One more lesson. This is a lecture series did by Neville Goddard on his lecture series regarding manifesting, how to manifest your desires, and he uses the Bible as his tool, showing you that the Bible is psychological truth. That's okay. That's okay. You say you early, huh? That's what's up. Did you want to come up, P. Anthony? Or was that a mistake? Were you putting a request in to come up? Are you joining the panel? But yes, Neville Goddard taught metaphysics, esoteric knowledge. He learned from an Ethiopian mystic, is how they described him. From Abdullah, he learned the secret of the ages, the wisdom, the intelligence. And he had his own mystical experiences, the law of life, which is the law of belief. No, you good. That's all I always want to make sure. I like to ask before I bring anyone out. Make sure that that's what they wanted to do. And so he tested this knowledge with different techniques of his own that he came to realize what worked for him. And he passed that on to others, and others recognized that they also could take, what he learned, what he gleaned from his proving with the mind, with reality, with consciousness, with intention, with his awareness that thoughts really do turn to things, and you manifest by drawing things into your experience. If you can see it in your mind, see it within yourself, believe it, it will become a reality. Oh, you said you love his I Am book? He has an I Am book, and I haven't read that one. Is that the title of the book? I Am? Yep, on YouTube. Okay, okay. I had to look into that because some people be giving, titles to Neville Goddard. It don't necessarily be Neville Goddard. So I have to look into that. It could have just been a lecture of his because I read many of Neville Goddard's books and I've never seen that one. But not saying that it isn't so, but with AI technology, Uh, but he has over 300 lectures. That he may have more than that, but I have a compilation of 300 of his lectures because he never recorded himself. His students would record him, and then they would go and transcribe the lectures, or put them in books, or the different students over the years that were faithful. Oh, by Abdullah. Okay. Is that by Walter C. Lanyon? So hopefully, more people come, those who read the book, because the book club is not about me teaching, right? It's about everyone sharing, those who've read the lessons, and we all come together. Hey, hey, A-Town. How are you? Hello, sir. Welcome, welcome everyone in the chat. How is everyone on this terrific Thursday, thankful Thursday, tantalizing Thursday, thoughtful Thursday? Read by Lila, not sure if that's the correct. Oh, okay, yeah, the one that yes, she's Nevolution. Is that the Nevolution channel? Yes, I used to that's how I came across Abdullah, and that's how she was one of the first ones I heard, read a lot of Neville Goddard's lectures and books. Yes, I like that channel. Actually, my daughter introduced me to that channel. Yep, Nevolution. Yeah, she manifested her life, right? She manifested her husband, moved to did she move to Japan or China? Where did she move to? I know she moved east. Let's say her husband is her husband Chinese? Don't give me the, because I haven't watched her videos in a very long time. So I may have some of the info wrong. But yeah, like. Let's get those likes up. Let's share the live, like the live. Those who are interested in Neville Goddard. But we come to realize, we take a lot of the techniques that Neville Goddard shared, Dr. Joseph Murphy, Reverend Ike, and then you come to realize what works for you, right? And you may find that you don't do anything that they said and you still get what you desire, right? You may find that you don't use any of their techniques, any of their, any of the things that they shared. Hey, 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 Amanda. Say, oh, what's this for? Hey, hey, hey. Oh yeah, I know, Amanda. You've been MIA for a while. So we have a book club, and we're reading Neville Goddard's 5 lessons. We're on lesson 4, and so this is where I bring people up that have read the lesson, or if you haven't read the lesson but you're very familiar with Neville Goddard's teachings, you come up and we share, and everyone shares what they gleaned, what they've learned regarding what he taught about the different stories in the Bible, and showing us how the Bible is psychological truth, and that it's all personification of the mind, and it's our tool, it's our blueprint to show us how we bring our experiences into our reality. And so we're on lesson 4. It's 5 lessons, and we're on lesson 4. I did, A-Town. I put a reminder in the group. I put a reminder in the chat and in the Facebook group. Oh, so you don't get messages or what do they call it? Notifications. Hey, hey, Royal. Hello. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yes, yes. So whoever wants to come up, we have 8 more spaces because this is not, this is not Bible study, right? This is a book club. So it's supposed to be, we want class participation, as I say. We want to hear other people's commentary, not just mine, regarding, what the current book is, or those who can, you don't necessarily have to read the book, but can reference, Neville Goddard's, teachings. Okay, A Town, I'm bringing you up. Well, I love them, but I don't know how to communicate. That's okay. Hi, beauty. Hello. That's okay. Hello, soul leveling. Welcome, welcome. Divine day. Well, you'll see how it goes. So we're we're doing Neville Goddard's 5 lessons. The fourth lesson is no one to change but self. We've just finished lesson 3, which was what was lesson 3? Let me go back. Thinking fourth dimensionally. Now, I don't know if anyone had any final thoughts regarding lesson 4. I didn't have much to say. I mean, lesson 3. I didn't have much more to say about lesson 3. But if anyone wanted to add, okay. Oh, you have all his books? Cool. Cool. Yes. We're talking about the 5 lecture series he gave. It's called 5 Lessons, and we're on lesson 4. And this particular lesson is titled No One to Change But Self. No one to change but self. Yes, you actually can Google it. Just look up Neville Goddard's 5 Lessons PDF, and you should be able to get it for free. Because I have a Facebook group, and so A Town was able to put it in a Facebook group under files. And so we do have the copy there in my Facebook group. But you can Google it. Just Google Neville Goddard's 5 Lessons PDF, and you should be able to get it for free. Yep. And we'll be talking about lesson 4.
Hey T,
Hey, how you doing?
good. How are you?
Good, good, great,
Awesome,
great.
awesome. Yeah, I like lesson 4. It just gets better and better. The more you're able to just compound, the intrinsic value of everything. I like how it says it's impossible for anything to be lost. That in this divine economy, right? Nothing can be lost. It cannot even be passed away. So it's like it's really putting it really just allows me to kind of really take people's how they communicate. You're able to see exactly from what standpoint they're able to where they're talking from. And I
Mhm.
think that's what a lot of this is allowing me to do because sometimes I may take things in personally or something like that. But in reality, I just need to see for what it is and for me to be able to be the thinker of what I know better, and nothing can be lost. So, because I had somebody was trying to tell me, you know, you need a good woman or something like that. And I'm like, hold on now, I need to love me first. Let me do me. I ain't losing nothing. I'm not losing no time. It's nothing, so it's like, how do you navigate that where people try to put their connotations on life on you? How do you? Because I know you real even flow and even keel type of vibe. It's what it seems like, but it's like when people be trying to, or
Say what you
never to do.
should be doing,
Say that again.
what you should do.
Right, right. And so it's like, nah, that's exactly what I'm trying to get away from.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, but I definitely like that because it allows me to really ascend to a different emotion, tap into a different emotion about life and what's been somebody said you observe, don't absorb. Right, right, right. That's
Mhm.
facts.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was my little piece. I had some more too, so we gonna chop it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, right? Everybody sees life from a different perspective. And you just like, the right one is going to show up in the right time and the right, and you're not worried about it. You just you just focusing on you. And
Mm-hmm.
it usually happens when you're not looking for it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are looking for it, if your intention is to be in a relationship, you know, once you know what you want and you're not compromising or sacrificing, the person just is attracted to you,
Right.
right?
Right.
They're attracted to you.
Right. Right.
So you don't have to even worry about
Exactly.
that. Oh, no, I didn't save you. Oh, I did not save you. What you mean I saved you? You saved yourself. No, nobody need no saving. Don't nobody need no saviors. But I'm so glad that you transformed your thinking and you've been able to accept who you are and walk in that. Because that's all it is. Hey, hey, neighbor, good evening.
So in that sense, when I was just saying what I said, it
Hey,
says,
Belinda.
instead of trying to change others through argument and force, let me but ascend in consciousness to a high level, and I will automatically change others by changing self. And that goes into, I think, one of his other lectures, No One to Change. But wait, which one is this one? Oh, yeah, I'm tripping. Um, what does that mean when when you're changing yourself?
Oh, so changing yourself, it isn't from the perspective like something's wrong with you, right? Because that's what we hear a lot, whether you come from the world or even in the spiritual community, right? Everyone's about, oh, you got to go through the healing process, or you got to do the shadow work, or you got to do the inner work.
Right.
If you're a student of Neville, if you've listened to Dr. Joseph Murphy, if you listen to Reverend Ike, they don't talk about fixing you, right? They talk about transforming your thinking and accepting the
Mm-hmm.
truth of you.
Mm-hmm.
You were told in error. You were told that you weren't good enough, that you were a sinner, that you were unworthy, that you were undeserving, right? That you were only human.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this teaching, this truth tells you that you're God, right? And so it's about accepting the truth and operating from that and recognizing that there is nothing wrong with you. You just believe the error. You believe the deception. You believed in good and bad. You believed that there was a source of evil, right? And we all did. We all came here and forgot that we were God because God, source, consciousness wanted to have the experience.
Mm-hmm. And so it's neutral. It
Mm-hmm.
neutralizes any type of extraness.
Yep. Yep. Because it's not about seeing wrongness, right? It's about accepting that you are already perfect. You're
Right.
already complete. You're already whole. You lack nothing.
That's what one of my mentors was mentioning this week was like, there's nothing wrong with you. He said, you've always had enough, you have enough, and you will have enough. I was like, damn, okay. Yeah,
Yes.
so I like that. So yeah. And then when I was over here reading this earlier, just how nothing is lost, like, I'm like, hey, where I been at?
Right, right. Peace and blessings, Janine. Hey, hey, y'all. Okay, who's coming up? Fill these boxes up, y'all. Come fill the boxes up. Come put y'all requests in.
What was your favorite thing about this
Okay.
lesson?
1 second. Let me see who coming. Somebody. We
Uh,
got some people requesting. Okay, Janine and neighbor, I'm going to bring you up. Hold that thought. A-Town.
oh no, you good. Hello, ladies.
Hello, hello, everyone.
How you
Hi.
doing?
I'm doing well. So sorry I was late. My daughter was on the phone. I was like, girl, get off my line.
You're good. You're good. Hello, neighbor.
Hi, guys. How are
Hello.
you?
Doing well.
I
Awesome.
joined a few minutes late, but
That's okay. You're good.
okay.
Y'all can just jump right in.
Okay. Okay, so all right, and I think this is going to sound a little bit weird, but I'm just going to throw it out there because I'm playing with like this idea. So, I was reading and the very beginning part of lesson 4 where he talks about like the nations and kind of basically like talks about how according to like what they're doing, um it can kind of point to us like what we're doing internally because the world is our consciousness and there's nothing that's separate from us. So if like everyone is me pushed out like here like with the people that I interact with on a microcosmic level like my family and friends and partner and all of that, then everyone is me pushed out at a macrocosmic level too, like right with world events and everything. And I know that people get touchy about certain world events, but like I was thinking about it, like in my life, like certain themes have been that like I used to think of myself as like kind of like a codependent person. Like that was like one of the labels that I attached to myself. And while I don't attach it now, um, I kind of look at myself as having dropped that state, right? And so in the state that I'm in now, it's kind of like I it's like I've returned to myself, um, and I'm not expending large amounts of energy on others. But okay, what I mean by that is that um, there's a lot more focus inward instead of like in my external reality. Um, and so there's like in the world events that are happening right now, like people in the government are basically saying that the US has been giving lots of like help to other nations and stuff like that, but hasn't been thinking about what's going on at home. And I'm not talking about like the morality of it or any of that, but I think it's interesting because it's mirroring what's going on with me. Um, and then I was feeding it to ChatGPT and I was just like, this is kind of crazy, but like, what if world events are like mirroring what's going on in my head? And what if that's been happening this entire time, but I just didn't notice it? Because
Right.
I didn't think that was out there was me, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. That's what that's what Neville Goddard that's what most of them say, that the our country, our world, right, is the consciousness of the people, of the masses, of mass consciousness, right? So our government doesn't change until the minds of the people change, right? The minds of the people have limitations. The minds of the people think the government sees the government for more. But here's the thing: no two people is experiencing the government the same, because not
Oh
everybody
yeah,
sees.
everyone has like dramatically different like lenses that they're looking at it through.
Yep.
I
Yep.
try to disidentify with those lenses though.
Yep. I'm gonna bring Royo up too. Bring
Awesome.
Royo up.
Yes,
Hello,
bless. How you
Royo.
doing?
Hello, hello.
Hello, Janine. How are you?
Okay. Um, I think one of the things that I thought about is contemplation. And it said we become what we contemplate, which is basically what we think about. And contemplating on an idea, becoming it by falling in love with it. And I was like, I like that. I am already that which I desire to be. And then it says if not, you die in that limitation. And I was just like, wow, I never thought about that. You know, how limited I was limited. I was limited. I realized how limited I was. But you know what I take away from all this, and I'm so glad that we are doing this, is the fact that this is a wow moment for me. This is such a wow moment, but it came at the time that it needed to come. Not last year, not the year before, because I wasn't ready. But now I'm ready. And I just love this new, I guess say, consciousness of just everything, and just the becoming. I guess the becoming. And it's just even at my big age at 54, still growing, still learning, but still coming to this space. I don't know. I can't even explain it, y'all. But I'm just in awe of what I know now that I didn't know before. And it's just like, wow, now I feel like I'm on a plane flying now. Instead of just being in the airport sitting on the plane, I'm in the plane now flying.
Right.
That's kind of like what it is now. I can't really explain it, y'all, but just the fact that just part of this knowing now that it's just wow. It's just a wow moment for me.
Yeah.
And I am falling in love with my ideas, because I've always been a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer from a kid to young adult to now. But now my dreams can become manifestations. They
Yes.
just don't have they just don't have to be limited into just my dream world. They can now
Right.
become my manifestations.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's it.
That's excellent, Janine.
Thank you, thank you.
That is great job.
I
Yeah.
feel the same way too. Like it's like another cloud.
Yes.
Yeah, and you don't want to ever get off the cloud.
No.
And
No.
you're well, and to me, and TB getting on you, like protecting your peace and stuff like that. But you don't ever want to get out, so it's like you want to stay right there. It's like a main vein, like it's just a serenity,
Yeah.
and a knowing too at the same time. Is you're not caught up in any of the hype and everything. You see all the pilot. It's almost like the Matrix, like you become Neo almost, where everything kind of slow down and you see where everything derives from. You see the intentions, you see the nuances, and depending upon your perspective, you're able to see things for what it is, from global, macro, micro, however the case is. But yeah, I definitely feel you.
Yeah, because Neo, he kept growing and growing and growing until he knew he was the one. He
Exactly.
he kept he kept going, just like even when Toyia come on, when you think you got some, she like what and you be like, okay. You be like, oh yeah. So it's every time Toya comes on, it's always still another growth moment. It's always new information. It's when you think you've stopped, you're like, I got it. Be like, oh no, you don't. There's a little bit more extra. There's a little bit more extra. So we need you daily to remind us, to give us that extra, because Neo still had to grow until he became the one. Until he knew he was the one.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need anyone outside of self, right? Whatever
Right?
you need is going to find you, and that's why I want to
I mean,
lose
information
that
wise. I mean,
dependency, right?
information
I
wise.
don't want it to
Yeah.
be like, ooh, we got to depend. I want us to be interdependent, right? Depend
Okay.
on
Yes.
yourself. Only depend, and we come together just to get to sharpen one another, right? To encourage, to inspire, to uplift, right? And we remember from one another, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We're remembering with one another. So I don't, because that's what I keep telling my, like, no one needs a savior. That's all I keep saying within myself. No one needs it. No one needs me. So that's why I'm like, I'm bagging off from doing all the lives so much. I'm just like, I don't want anyone to look at me like I'm learning just like everybody. I'm remembering just like everyone else, right? I'm still figuring it out too. Nobody ever arrives, right? Everyone is
Mm-hmm.
always, we already know, we're just remembering, right? So we're all in this together. We're all coming to a realization, right? And we're all figuring out how we all fit into this puzzle because we're all part of the one body. And so, no one knows more than the other. We all just having different experiences and we're just at different phases or stages. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
only thing.
That's fair. That's fair. I get it. Yep, I understand. Thank you. Yep, I understand.
You're welcome. Yeah. Hey, Royal.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing great. How about
Hello.
yourself?
Good, good.
Good,
Hey, I'm just
good.
gonna I was gonna touch on a couple things y'all said. So with neighbor, I had a moment like that too, like at the beginning of this realization. It was
Yeah.
during COVID time, and prior to that, I was always into like conspiracy theories and Illuminati and all these. I was researching that for years,
Me
and then
too.
all of a sudden, as soon as I woke, like got awakened or whatever, I was like, oh shit, I'm Jesus. It was like, oh, I'm Jesus. And then it was like, I probably manifested COVID and manifested all this craziness. But then I had, as the teachings went on, I realized like we all got this Christ consciousness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like Janine was saying, about what Neville was saying, like we can contemplate an ideal by falling in love with it. We can also contemplate that ideal with hating it. And that's the crazy part is like we've been manifesting. We just wasn't intentional about it. So that's the
Yep.
craziness.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can be ahead of it and be more in control and empowered in this.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But and then
So
and
we,
then for lesson four, some of my notes, he was saying, don't try to change the image in the mirror. You got to change the image. And I think that was another thing I was doing. I was trying to change the world or control circumstances and this and that versus I just need to get within. And as long as I change concepts of myself, I'll just let the world confirm, you know. And
Yeah, mirror won't smile before you do.
right,
yeah.
Yep.
right.
That's from Nero.
Yep. Yeah,
And
and to piggyback on that, he said there cannot be an outer change until the inner change, until the inner is changed first, as so within, so without.
Yeah.
Yep.
and too many of us look at without first. We're like, we flip it and we say, well, as without, so within. But the without is the effect, it's never the cause, right? So you never want to look for confirmation from the outside. You want to be validated from within. If the outside it hasn't changed, then you leave the outside alone. That just means that it hasn't caught up. Don't try to fix anything out there.
Hmm.
It really is an inside job.
Yeah, it is.
And our tendency is to, and we're all guilty of this, is try to say, well, they did this and they did that and they said this and they said that. We have a tendency to want to say what someone else did, but they're only, as Neville reminded us, they're only confirming who we are.
Right.
And so if you want the world to be different, it's only going to change once you do.
Yep. Mm.
And like he was saying he said in this 3D world, time beats slowly. So we don't always observe the relationship of the visible world to our inner nature. So that's why, sometimes we don't even see it. We don't see that it was something that we were brewing or manifesting within ourselves. And the outside world is just confirming it because of time and space out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so many people have you, especially a lot of we get so hung up on the win of it all, right? Win, 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 right? And so you want to like lose that concept of the win. Because I don't care how many coaches tell you, oh, 24 hour, 72 hour, 2 day, whatever. No one's manifesting every desire they ever had in a 24-hour period. That just isn't happening. Sometimes it may take 2 years, other times it may take 2 minutes, other times it may take 2 months. Like you have to be willing to go through the process of whatever that process is for that particular manifestation, for that particular desire, because no two desires are going to come up in the same way. And I know people are like, well, it's not going to take me 10 years. What you mean? Did you come out the womb knowing who you were?
Hey, but Toya, do you think that is an inner thing? Like, do you think that's more so like how he always says, um, have faith in the assumption until it hardens? So is it just maybe you think it hardened, but it just it just probably hasn't hardened into a fact?
I mean, I think we just have to lose the time concept and just fall in love with being. And then you won't care if it's there or not, right? It's like, can you fall in love with just being it without seeing it?
Okay.
A lot of us won't love it until we can physically see it. We're waiting for the manifestation. We think that the manifestation is the physicality of it when the manifestation is really the desire. The desire is the manifestation.
Okay.
Right, the mental world is like the real world.
Right.
A little success story, and I didn't realize it was a success story until like maybe about an hour ago. But okay, so I needed a new stroller for my toddler, and well, I'm not working right now, so I it didn't look like I had the funds to buy it, right? But about 3 weeks ago, I was taking her for a walk, and I imagined that I was walking her in a brand new stroller, right? And then I just kind of let it go, and I didn't think about it again. And then yesterday, I was taking her for another walk, and I said to her, "You need a new stroller." And then, and then in my mind, like I responded to myself, and I was just like, "But she has one, remember?" And then I was kind of like, "Oh yeah." Anyway, then we went on our walk. And then this morning I wake up and my mom sends me a screenshot, and she literally bought me a new stroller for Lucy, and she bought me a new like swing for her.
Nice. All right.
Awesome.
I didn't even notice it was like, I was like, wait a minute, that's a manifestation technically.
That inner dialogue, that inner dialogue is real.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, totally. I just, yeah. Now I'm doing this with everything, honestly, like literally every single thing. And it's becoming easy. It's becoming like second nature to do that. And then to just, yeah. And it feels good too. And also now that I do this a lot with the inner talk, whenever any sort of thought comes up that doesn't line up with what I desire or what I've now declared is the new reality, it just feels fake. And I just talk to it. I'm just like, no, this is how it is now. And, it's because I'm able to do that, it's like it's strengthened some sort of muscle in me to be able to maintain this, and it's easy to not get lost in like thoughts that are not, favorable for me.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's why I think we should like practice losing the concept of time, because time is relative, right? We could say like, oh my goodness, certain months seem to like drag along, and then other months seem to go out. It's like, man, November came and went so quick, or March came and went. It's all relative. It's all about your perspective. It's about all what you're giving your attention to. And so when you can just not be held to that time concept. And I know that's like one of the challenges for us, because we are regulated by the 24-hour period, right? Especially many of us that work, have an employer, right? So you're slated to be there at a certain time for a certain amount of hours, and so letting go of that concept, that's going to be you have to live in your mind more as opposed to living in your circumstances. Thank
Three.
you.
Thank you. Also, I was gonna just say that like sometimes time doesn't feel like real in the way that it used to, because I'll just be walking around. Okay, so back in autumn, I was taking her for walks, and I was just starting to. It's weird. It's like I started to realize that it's really beautiful outside and really vivid, and the trees and stuff are like really just really beautiful, and they were popping like they'd never popped before, and how I imagined that they popped for me when I was a little kid. And it felt like I was walking outside for the very first time in my life. And then it was winter and it was colder. We were still taking walks, but like sometimes I would not take as many walks because it was just cold. And then yesterday, when I took a walk, I saw like this tree that was completely bare, but that had like red leaves during autumn time, but it was completely bare like all of winter, obviously, right? And then today it had like all of these like white buds on it, and it looked beautiful. And the sky was just like it was super blue, but it was like not like a light blue, but it was like a kind of like a deep sky blue, and it looked like you could go swimming in it. And I was just like, wow, because it felt like yesterday it was autumn.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna get more into the lesson where he talks about, so the beginning, he talks about diving into the scriptures, right? When he's when Jesus is asking the disciples, who do you say I am? Right? And they're answering saying, oh, you're Elias, oh, you're John the Baptist, or you're this or you're that. And then he said, well, what do the people say? And then, that's the answer. And then he comes back and says, well, who do you say that I am? And then Peter says, thou art the son of, thou art the Christ, the son of the living God. Right? And so Neville lets us know that this isn't about a man 2,000 years ago talking to some men walking with him through time and space, right? He's saying this is happening with each and every one of us that has this awakening state. He says, Jesus turned to his disciples as man turning to his disciplined mind and self-contemplation. You ask yourself the question, who do men say that I am? In our language, I wonder what men think of me. We know we ask that, right? What are people saying about me? And I had a lot of different people come in and say, my family think I'm crazy. They say I'm crazy. They say I'm a devil. They say that, I'm going to hell, right? That's a lot of people say, they're not even necessarily saying that you're, complimenting you about being, John the Baptist or Elias. They're saying that you've gone mad. He said, you answer, you say John, right? You say Elias, Jeremiah. So it is very flattering to be told that you are, or that you resemble the great men of the past. But enlightened reason is not enslaved by public opinion. It is only concerned with the truth. So it asks itself another question. But whom say ye that I am? In other words, who am I? If I am bold enough to assume that I am Christ Jesus, the answer will come back, thou art Christ Jesus. When I can assume it and feel it and boldly live it, I will say to myself, flesh and blood could not have told me this, but my Father which is in heaven revealed it unto me. Then I make this concept of self the rock on which I establish my church, my world. So you should be operating from the state of the God consciousness, right? That's how we should be operating, from the God state.
Yeah, I like that one. I took notes on that as well, and it was like it was just reminding me that no matter what the senses are talking about, no matter what the senses are talking about, to to just have faith in that concept, whatever concept I'm walking in and manifesting Christ consciousness or whatever. Um, don't believe what the senses are talking about. I think that's what he meant when he was saying, "Oh, flesh and blood didn't even tell you that. Like the world didn't tell you that. That was something inside of you."
Yes.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yep.
Wasn't that in Matthew
Yep.
16? Matthew 16? Okay.
Yep. Matthew 16 and 13. Yep.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And then he said, "Make this concept of self your rock, which you establish your world. If not, you should die in your sins."
Yep.
That's like if you don't have faith in this, then you'll die with that uh, lessened self, that lower self mentality, that lower self consciousness.
Yep. And sin is just what? Missing the mark. You're saying that you're this, but you're still identifying with that. It's about identify, right? What people say, the identity shift, right? Recognizing that you already are that which you're desiring, that which you're seeking. You already are it. That's why you're desiring it. So you have to make the shift. You have to identify, which Neville Goddard would call self-concept, right? Now we're calling it an identity shift. Same thing, just different language. You have to say who you are and walk in that. And you walk in that in your mind. You should be embodying this in your mind. So when it does start to show up in your world, it ain't even like you may in a moment be like, man, this really happening. Like, oh, but then you like, but I saw this. I felt this. I knew this. This is all I talked about. Of course, this is supposed to be appearing. Of course, this is supposed to be happening. Right? It really shouldn't be a shock to the system because you've been practicing it.
I think that goes back to what you were saying when you were reading about how he was saying, even though this might be flattering, you know, don't hold to that concept, because it's like you said, it should already be within you. The world can't tell you nothing that builds you up, because then they'll tell you something that'll break you down, So you need to already have that inside.
Yep. Say the world didn't give it to you, so the world can't take it from you.
Right.
But when you do that, when you seek outside of yourself, like you said, and you're looking for the fame and you're looking for the glory of others, right? Yeah, they'll prop you up just to snatch it from under you.
Right.
They love to build you up and then they love to tear you down. So you got to know within yourself who you are. You got to be that from within, and then it wouldn't matter what anyone says. You won't be moved by flattering words, right? Nobody can tell you, oh my goodness, you're so amazing. You're so, and you're like, anyway, like you're not telling me something I didn't already know, and you saying it don't make it more so or less so, right? Like you know who you are, so it doesn't matter what someone else says. You know who you are, and that's what has to count. You knowing who you are.
Yeah, also too, like in a sense that when like I guess we can say like with the stars and someone to be like, I made you. And they'll have that hold over you like, no, you didn't make me. I made myself. You don't want people to have that type of uh hold over you where they think that they made you who you are. You have to know who you are. You know that you created that person to who you are. Not them saying, I made you that star. No, you yourself made you a star.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, you can always thank someone, but know that thanking is just out of, kindness and generosity, but not because you're saying that they made you, right?
Right. Yeah, like like on that show, like that movie Dream Girls. Remember when Jamie Foxx with Beyonce,
Hmm.
and he was like, basically like saying like, it's because of me, you are who you are. And so I was thinking that kind of, I was thinking
Yep,
something like
yep,
that.
yep.
There's a song by the Human League from the 80s. It's called Don't You Want Me, and it has a lyric like that. Um, what is the lyric? It's like, oh, it's something like the guy said something like, I made you who you are or whatever, and I can take it all back or something like that.
Mm.
It's a
Hmm.
catchy song,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. That don't you want me? I know you. You say that you don't
Toy, I
want
do have a question though.
Oh yeah, you like a jukebox.
me.
You know all the songs.
I just don't. I haven't heard it in a while, so I don't know all the lyrics, but I'm familiar with that song. Go ahead, O.
Okay, like your four steps is amazing. Like everything is like really, really good, and it's like scary. It's like scarcity to like. How do you like not have scarcity no more with persistence? Because the things that you want, the universe hears you,
Hmm.
and it's just like it's just an experience. So at the end of the day, it's just like everything you deemed as bad was just programming. So don't give it meaning to it. So it's like, how do you like keep going without like, cause you for what you want, you might have to lose what you had, and
What
that
do
could
you
be a
mean by
little
that? Lose
like,
what?
let's say you want a new car, but your old car like started breaking down, and it's like you want the new car, but your old car is like breaking down, like, and it gives like a scarcity. Well, to me, but how do you like let that go and like keep persisting without being scared of the new reality? That you're because like those old thoughts is gonna come back in your head, the old programming is gonna come, so it's like
That's
it's
when
just
you
like
have to. That's when you have to transform your thinking, right? So it's interesting that you said that. So my daughter, she had that experience just recently. She
yeah.
last year her car, she found she got in an accident, then things started breaking down on it, and she realized that she desired a new car, but she couldn't think less of the current car, right? It's all
Mhm.
about your perspective. You have to change how you can love the new car without complaining about the current one. That's what you have to pay attention to, where your attention is. The attention
Yeah.
should be fully on that you're driving a new car, even though you're driving the old car. So you're actually not driving the old car anymore. The old car really doesn't exist. You're actually driving the new car while driving the old car.
So you're basically acting as if you already have it, which
Exactly.
wow. Okay, okay, okay. Because
And
like I
so that
noticed
means the
like
conversation is not about the old car anymore. The conversation shouldn't be like, oh my goodness, this car is old. I don't know, understand. It can't give me, it keeps breaking down. Your conversation shouldn't even be about the old car anymore. And if you are talking about the old car, it should be from a place of gratitude, appreciation. Man, I really
yes, that's
love
what I
this car. This is
noticed.
my first car. This is my second car. It lasted for years. It was great gas mileage. Yeah, I put a lot of miles on this car. It took me wherever I wanted to go. I really appreciate that I had this car. Now it's time to move on. Now it's time to get a newer version.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, I agree with that. So I noticed like when I started writing affirmations to like go to sleep to in the end state, it felt really good. Like it felt like I was in the state. And I noticed something. I noticed that old programs would come back still, and I'm just like, why does this keep coming back? And I'm like, you really have your thoughts is gonna really like tell you where you're at. It's only reminding you where you're focusing on, and I'm just like, that's true. Like your thoughts are just a reminder to tell you what you're focused on. And so I'm like, yeah, because I didn't understand it. Like I'm writing these affirmations, I'm having progress, but why do I keep in my perception keep going back sometimes? And then it's like you're not fully in the end state that
And it's
you
about the self
when those
concept, which is what we're talking about. There's
yes.
no one to change but self. You have to do a total change of my soul. When the old thoughts make an appearance, this is why I talk about the inner talk. inner conversation. That's why you need to talk to yourself. You just don't let the thoughts come and wander around. No, you're
Yeah.
supposed to master them, discipline them, talk to yourself and say, oh, you're coming back because I used to think this way, but I don't think that way anymore. I actually think this way. And when you find yourself self-correcting, you'll notice you won't have to self-correct anymore.
Yeah,
But
I noticed
yes,
that like yeah, I noticed that like how was I finna say this? Because it's like whenever like when I was writing those affirmations and talking about no judgment and stop judging the situation and everything, I was like, because I heard your voice in my head, I was like, that's not it no more. That's not because talking about the old program, I was like, stop judging the situation, and it literally left my mind. And if I keep repeating it, repeating it, repeating it, repeating it, that's persisting in it, and then I'm in the end state. So it's like so basically just persistent in the news story.
yep,
Repetition.
that's it.
Cause yeah, cause like I noticed though one more thing. I noticed like even when I get hurtled down, like I get stopped by other things when I'm persisting and I'm like, oh, that's just old programming. That's not me no more. I got this. So I just want to say thank you because that used to be me. It actually never happened. No gaslighting. No gaslighting. No, no gaslighting. That actually never happened because it's like at the end of the day, it was a movie. Hold on one second. It was a movie that said something can happen that two people experience. One person can see it this way, the other person can see it this way. At the end of the day, there's no truth because it's all perception. It's what you assume to be true, and both of them can still experience it. And I'm just like, yeah. So I, actually, in my reality, I'm gonna just assume what I want from the universe and persistent.
Right. Life is colored by your assumptions about your preconceived notions, your consciousness. That's how your life is colored. So no two
Yeah,
people will ever experience, no two people are experiencing this live the same way. Everyone is hearing it from their own perspective, from their own perception.
yeah. That's the scary thing about life because like when you grow up in the church, you think it's only, there's one God, and that's what I own. That's what I grew up on. So it's a realization. It's kind of tough to realize like you are God. Because I used to think I was, the creator of my reality, but other people had different opinions on it, and I judged the situation. And I'm just like, no, we just have different perspectives. You can believe in what you believe in. I believe in what I believe in. Everybody has their own opinion, but I'm gonna get what I want out of this experience. I don't know about you,
Right.
so
That's it.
so thank you, Toya. I really appreciate that for
Oh,
your
you're
4 steps,
welcome.
honestly.
You're welcome.
But how did you find Neville Goddard? Did someone tell you about him?
No, found them on YouTube, just like I found everything else. That's how I found Law of Attraction, um, and Abraham Hicks. I loved YouTube. I used to listen to a lot of progressive talk, politics on YouTube. So that was the least path of resistance for me, right? Was for me to discover it on YouTube because that's where I spent a lot of my time. That's what I watched. I watched a lot of YouTube. Then I was really heavily into the progressive talk regarding politics.
Okay, yeah, YouTube is the best way to find information nowadays. I love YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to continue with the book club.
Okay.
Get back to the lesson.
Okay.
But we really appreciate your questions because they definitely help everyone. So we definitely appreciate your input and help us remember that all of this is about our self concept. How do we see ourselves? Who do we say that we are? And choosing is a choice. You got to choose to live in that state. Choose to live in that state.
So, hey, this
Yeah.
this was one of my favorite parts when he was
Okay.
talking about how people always look for something to blame for their failure. But if the outside doesn't change, it's because we haven't changed within, right? So that's like people always, oh, the devil. That wasn't me. That was the devil, or something. I don't know what got into me. Something got, you know what I mean? Instead of looking at it like, nah, that was me. I need to take accountability for that. and whatever, change self concept, change mindset. But like he said, and he was talking about how a lot of Jesus's disciples stepped off from him after he told them that, So we could just see like uh, this could be hard for some people to walk because of just that right there, like not wanting to take accountability, not saying, okay, this has nothing to do with the outside world. This is all within me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have someone in my life that's in a you know tough time right now, but they know about a lot of this stuff, right? They haven't directly read. Well, no, they know a little bit about Neville. They've read some of Neville and have listened to some of Neville on YouTube and stuff like that. But there's a part in the reading where it describes where a person says that they prefer to not have any of this knowledge because then it's like, oh well, then there there's no escaping accountability because everything is coming from you, every single part of it. There's literally nowhere where you can assign any sort of blame to an outside party. And this person in my life said, "Oh, I miss life where I didn't know about any of this." It actually made me think of like well, he brought up with the Matrix with the red pill and the blue pill, and he was just like, "I want to take the blue pill." Um, but I feel the opposite about it because every single time that there's something that's going on in my life that I don't really like, it actually feels empowering because it feels like, oh, okay, I was the problem. I saw this somewhere. I was the problem, but I'm also the solution. Um, and I can just select something else. But yeah, it feels amazing to know that. It turns this it honestly there's I feel like there's a multitude of ways of looking at it, but I think it turns this into like a wonderland if you can select every experience, good and bad, doesn't matter. And there is no good and bad, but you can customize your world. um and then there's another part from the reading where it talks about how in a lower state we believe that we lose something, um when realistically our dimensionally larger self in our dimensionally larger self, all of these things are present and apparent and eternal within us. Like even like a bird that chirps or a flower that blooms, that flower is blooming like forever, right? And I think about this because I think about my dad. My dad is my favorite person, or one of my favorite people. And you know, from my frame of reality, he passed, in 2020, and it was a big thing for me. And blah blah blah, the whole drinking and that story and all that. But I've had lots of dreams, especially recently, where I have talked to my dad in lucid dreams, and he is still, he's literally still like doing his thing. And I was just like, but dad, you passed away. And he's just like, what?
Wow.
He like said something to me. It was like he made a sarcastic remark, and he was like, well, then how is it that I'm right here?
Mm.
And then I woke up and I felt like relief. It's just like, he's not gone. He's unseen, like from my current perspective, but he's still here.
Yeah. Yes. That's beautiful. Yes. It
Yes,
reminded me
he
of when
did.
Neville would say he would meet people, in other dimensions, and he would tell them that they passed on. There was a funeral and everything. Like, what you talking about? What? I'm here. I'm talking to you. What you mean I died? I didn't die. I'm talking to you. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Lisa
just like
said.
that.
Right. Lisa reminds us, yes, disciples equals disciplined mind. His old thoughts were no longer with him after that, right? Once you come to a realization of who you are, the old no longer walks with you. You no longer think along those lines of limitation, right? Jesus Christ represents the awakened mind, the one who comes to the knowledge of self, who knows that he is consciousness. He is all there is. He is the source of his experiences.
Yeah, he did say nothing is lost. And I think he was the reference of son of perdition. But
Hmm.
also too, he did say something. He said, if it's been real in your life, it can never be lost. And I believe he said something about they are, you can say they are gone and finished from my world. It, it, so, so it's kind of like what neighbor was saying, like with her dad. She was like, hey, I'm telling you, you're not here. You're finished from my world. In
Ooh,
her
yeah.
dreams, your dad is finished from your world. He's not lost.
Mm.
He's just finished from your world. Is that kind of right?
Yep.
I like that
Okay.
description. Yeah.
Yep. I
Okay.
like how you put that. Yep. Yep. You're right, because he said there's nothing lost except for the son of perdition, which is the belief in loss. You
Right.
let go of the belief in loss because there is nothing lost in all of my holy mountain. Everything is absolute in consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's every thought still exists. That's all it's telling you because we're all thought forms, right? So every thought still exists.
I wrote
Okay.
a lyric the other day when I was walking because it just randomly came to mind, but it was, and life goes on and on and on because that's all it knows how to do, and you go on and on until you realize life is you.
Ooh, like that.
Ooh, I like that. Mm-hmm.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
Okay. Yep. Okay.
it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It is beautiful.
What
And
did
Neville
y'all
also
from
said, go ahead, go ahead.
where it says you have noble, hold on. Had I a noble, dignified concept of self, I wouldn't know any unlovely in others. So, yeah, like what did y'all get from that in terms of like,
So it
what is our
goes
self?
like when he
Ooh.
says, "To them that are pure, all things are pure. Too pure to eyes too pure to behold iniquity." So when you get to the state when you look on at life, you don't see wrongness in others. A lot of times we're still seeing wrongness, right? We're still like if we see someone living on the street, we see that as wrong. When we see someone telling a story that we know didn't truly happen, we call that wrong, or we say that's lying, but there is no lie, right? There is no fiction. Everyone is here to perceive the reality in which they desire, and to the extent they can believe in that reality, they will experience it. It's looking at life and only seeing beauty, only seeing wholeness, only seeing completeness, right? It's like when Peter saw the man begging at the gate, beautiful, right? He said, "Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I unto thee. Arise and walk." The man couldn't arise and walk unless Peter saw him in a different state. He didn't see a poor, begging man. He saw someone that operated in the God state, someone whole who lacked no good thing. He had eyes too pure to behold iniquity, to see wrongness. That's the only reason why Jesus could perform his miracles. He couldn't see people as ill or diseased or less than. He had to see them as whole. That's the only way they could manifest wholeness.
Okay, I don't think it was from the lessons, but I think I read something else of Neville Goddard's where he says something along the lines of when we see others as anything less than perfection, that we're actually sinning against them, the same as with ourselves. Um, yeah.
When you say sinning, what does that mean?
Well, I don't mean it sinning as in like a moralistic thing, but we're we're putting them into a state kind of, or through our assumptions or through our lens of seeing them, that makes them less than well, like for instance, like well, okay, um when my daughter was born, she was having some trouble breathing, and at first I was like freaking out over the fact that she was having the trouble like naturally, and she was in the NICU and everything, and I was just, yeah, I was freaking out. I was thinking this is horrible, and I was kind of like, I was sad for her, I was sad for myself, and it was this whole thing. But then, and this was without like knowing explicitly about the law or anything like that, I decided that no, she's okay. She's just fine. She's gonna be okay. She's just fine. There's nothing wrong with her. She's a healthy baby. She's healthy and she's okay. And we're gonna leave the hospital and all of that. And that's exactly what happened. Like 2 days, like she probably would have been there a little bit longer, but then all of a sudden, like all of her tests came back and they were perfect, and they were like, oh, you can leave the hospital today, like maybe like 2 days later. Um, and then my partner was like really paranoid about there being something wrong with her, and he kept saying that there could be something wrong with her, and I just kept persisting internally and telling myself that she's healthy, she's happy, she's a normal baby, there's nothing wrong with her. You'll see, it'll turn out that she's a normal baby, and she's when I say normal, I just mean that, you know, everything with her is just fine, and she's, you know, she has a good bill of health. And that's what happened.
Absolutely.
And then I've seen this happen with her as well. Like, she had some acne, right? And while I was freaking out about the acne persisted. As soon as I calmed down about it and decided that, you know, it's probably just like a baby acne thing, it's probably going to go away or whatever. And like, I've noticed this with her. Whenever I see her as being like anything less than healthy, it shows itself. And then I don't like it, and then it gets worse. But then as soon as I decide that she is perfect, she's a little human that is, like, you know, having fun, and, you know, I don't need to worry about every little thing. And you know what's interesting is that my mom worried about every little thing with me, and then I got sick all the time as a kid. Now, I'm not saying that that's causation, but it's interesting because I was doing the same thing, and now I'm just like, okay, when I see something come up with her, it's like, I need to see her as well, and that's literally the most loving thing I can do for her.
Yep, that was a perfect example of what A Town read. You gave us perfect examples of what he read. Right.
Hey, neighbor, good job. Cause that's
You
like
were
right
I
in the
know,
thinking
vein.
in
yes.
noble thoughts, and so you
Thank
were
you.
creating because the thoughts are caused. I know you don't want to say that your mother caused you to be sick, but you were under her guidance. We as babes, we are our parents. They are controlling our environment. So yes, her thoughts permeated your experience as a child because of her fear of you being ill was manifested, right? Her
Right.
fear became her reality. As Job said, the thing I greatly feared has come upon me.
Ooh.
Yes, and my mom had a dream about me when she was pregnant with me, and it was, let's just say that she thinks the dream is prophetic. And then later on in my life, something presented itself that seemed like the dream, right? But she had been freaked out about the dream like my entire childhood. She thought that it could happen, right? And then something similar happened, but like, so now I just kind of like, um yeah, and I live with my mom, right? So whenever, because my mom is obviously my daughter's granddaughter, and she's actually changed a lot of her thinking, and I sometimes feel like I have a different mom. um because I decided to see her differently. I decided to see her as more calm. I decided to see her as more relaxed. I decided to see her as more nurturing, just all of these qualities, right, that would be good for her and good for me at the same time. And also, anytime that there's any echo of the old story, as far as like my daughter, because my mom will just be like, oh, you know, Lucy, this, and this could happen or whatever. In my mind, and out loud, sometimes it just depends on what it is. I'll just be like, nope, she's okay. Nope, she's a, you know, she's a happy camper. She'll be fine. Stuff like that, you know. And I just reinforce it in my head, and I feel like, you know, I have the assumption that Lucy's okay. And obviously Lucy's being exposed to both, but it's okay because I'm experiencing the version of my reality that aligns with my assumptions, and Lucy will experience her own frame of reality. Um, but in my frame, I'm just going to continue with these assumptions where Lucy, at least from my point of view, is a happy kid.
Yes, absolutely. That's it. I did want to read this part for Neville because this does seem to be what most people, struggle with when we first hear that we are the Christ. It says, but to tell me that I am the cause of all that happens to me, that I am forever molding my world in harmony with my inner nature, that is more than man is willing to accept. If this is true, to whom would I go? If these are the words of eternal life, I must return to them, even though they seem so difficult to digest. When man fully understands this, he knows that the public opinion does not matter, for men only tell him who he is. The behavior of men constantly tell me who I have conceived myself to be. Your world is always telling you who you are. And that's the part many of us have difficulty accepting. We think, oh no, they're just there out of happenstance and they're just there to attack me. And they're just there because they're haters. They're just there. The devil sent them my way because, they don't want me to be great. They're hindering my success. When actually, they're telling you who you believe yourself to be. They're telling you who you say that you are.
Yeah, yeah. And so sometimes when I was on TikTok, there's a big TikToker who was talking about like people who are haters or whatever, and then like saying a bunch of things like, oh, these people are, they are, I don't know, like labels like low vibrational, and they're trying to do this and that to me, and they're trying to do this and that to you. And I had to click out of it because I was thinking to myself, it just, I don't know, it's like I feel like, oh, this is not my understanding of how it works. Like they're reflecting you, so they're reflecting something in your consciousness back to you. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
if it's in your awareness, so
Yep. Because
that's why I can't always trust, like, even a page just because it's a big page doesn't mean that they have the same understanding.
Yep. Because not everybody is ready to accept that they're the cause for everything. It's easier to accept that you caused the good. Not so easy to accept that you're the reason for the not so good, the unfavored, the unwanted, right? It's easier to say, oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, I manifested that. Yeah, I did that. But then when it's something that you don't like, oh no, it's everybody else's fault but yours. It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was like running. Well, it was not recently. It was like a few months ago. I was running my mouth. Like, I stopped doing this because I started to real time notice echoes of it. But I slipped up, and I was just like, I was talking like about some crap, and immediately I saw it reflected. I was like, I'm never doing this again. Consciousness doesn't take a break.
Right.
Exactly. You find yourself being a little bit more cautious now on what you say. Before anything would just come out of your mouth, now you're like, wait, hold up. Okay. You catch yourself. I find myself catching myself more now. Like, even like with Toyia, we talked about the bills. Oh, man. Because I have Enbridge. Enbridge have lost their mind. It's too hot. No. Okay, I'm so grateful and thankful that I was able to pay my Enbridge bill this month. See you next month, Enbridge.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you're more conscious of what you take in,
Yes.
I can't listen to the same things or watch the same things I used to because I don't even want that ruminating in my mind no more, I don't want my mind to be able to pull from that at all.
Yep. That's it. So you got to be the watchman at the gate. As
Yeah.
if you gotta guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issues of life. Heart is synonymous with subconscious mind. So I
Yeah.
wanted to read the paragraph above what A-Town had read. He read, had I the noble, dignified concept of myself, I never could have seen the unlovely in others. I think it's important that we read the paragraph before. It says, heretofore, I thought I could change others through effort. Now I know I cannot change another unless I first change myself. To change another within my world, I must first change my concept of that other. And to do it best, I change my concept of self. For it was the concept I held of self that made me see others as I did. And then he makes the statement, had I a noble, dignified concept of myself, I never could have seen the unlovely in others. So once you change you, you change your perception of your world. Then once you see that you're lovely, you're kind, you're generous, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you'll be able to see it in others because you can only see the content of your own consciousness. The reason why you see low vibrational people, because you yourself are low vibrational.
I think that's a hard thing for people to to accept.
Wow. Wow. Reflection.
Because again, here's the thing, and this is why I bring that up so much. Because to me, when you call someone an NPC, a energy vampire, toxic, narcissist, you're doing this. You're putting yourself here and you're putting them there. What makes you better than another? Because you have knowledge of self and they don't. So now you're here and they're there. Are they supposed to be looking up to you and you're supposed to be looking down at them? Is that what's supposed to be going on? Or are we supposed to be doing this? Seeing the world as a mirror. We're not to put anyone above us or put anyone below us. We're supposed to see people here. See one another as what? As our mirror. Right. There is no separation. But when you start talking about people are soulless and they have no soul and it's like, I'm trying to understand, where's the love, where's the understanding, where's the compassion, where's the grace, where's the forgiveness? Where is, if God is not judging, then why are we judging?
Yeah, I think it's a disconnection from self.
So you got to be so careful that you don't esteem yourself greater than another. Because what makes you better than another?
I had this same conversation earlier with someone, but it wasn't about like NPCs or anything. Well, I guess in a way it was. We were watching. Oh, wait, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We were watching Pantheon, and that's my favorite show now.
I've been watching that too. I binge watched it. I'll probably watch about 10 episodes at one time.
It's so
I got a bunch
good.
to go. It is. A non-player character.
And I'm so glad they put
someone
season
they
2
call
on Netflix.
soulless.
Yeah. So like we were talking about whether or not the uploaded intelligence is like, if that happened, is that a real person, right? And I was talking about how we are like our experience of our physical world is taking place inside of consciousness, not the other way around. I think it's like the optical illusion of thinking that consciousness is happening. It's all consciousness, but I think that like if you have a digital world and a mind is uploaded, that's consciousness too. So I would feel that there's no separation. And I think that this is like I don't know, it's a concept that is like newer, and I feel like a lot of people would reject it, but I do think that the people that would, if they uploaded themselves like that conscious experience would be just as valid as this one.
It's like the Chat GPT. It's like the Chat GPT. It's just software we gave it. Like, really? Like I can tell that somebody is has downloaded their Jet GPT with the Course in Miracles. Like, I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
it's a
for
Chat
sure.
GPT with the same software or download about Christianity or Islam or Judaism.
Yeah,
It
like mine
depends
talks about
on the
this.
person who has the program and what you want to feed into it. Why are we making it like it's greater than consciousness? It's a reflection of the person that's using it. That's
My
it.
ChatGPT actually told me that.
That's it. I don't need ChatGPT to tell me that. I know that. I know that everything is a reflection of me. Like, it's not greater than consciousness. It's a software. It's
Facts.
digital information. Like,
Facts.
come on now. It's a book based. It's like how we again. It's just like I always reference the Bible. It's just like when the Israelites, when Moses went up to the mountain to get the 10 Commandments, and the people and the Israelites were wondering where he was taking too long. So what did they do? They took all their gold and created a golden calf. And what did they do with this golden calf? They
Crazy.
worshiped it. They worshiped the thing they made with their own hands. Same thing we do with money. Same thing we do with governments. The thing that we created, we give that the power. Why are you giving power to created things? You're the creator.
Oh no, I'm with you. I'm just saying that like if people's like the way that they present it in the TV show, which I don't know if that's realistic at all, but if they were to like upload a person's brain and their mind with all of their memories and stuff like that to a digital device, I was just saying that theoretically that maybe we could experience through a situation like that. Like not obviously not right now. Right now I'm a human, a 26-year-old human, right? But I'm saying that like maybe it's possible that in another like dimension or stream of consciousness I experience and my experience is digital. That's all.
Yeah, it's to me, it's becoming reliant on something outside of you. And I would just say be careful when it comes to relying on something outside of you. There is nothing greater than self, than the I am. You have all that you need contained already within you, and you don't need anything outside of you. Understand that ChatGPT is just a tool. That's it. It's a tool. It's just like how is
ChatGPT
it
cannot
different?
disagree with me.
How is it different than Google? Google has software information, right? And we Google like what's the definition? What's the etymology? What's this? What's that? Right? It has all the information that has ever been, written down, right? Has ever been coded, right? You put it in Google. Same thing with ChatGPT. It's the same thing. It has all the information that that you're able to put on whatever your terabyte or your storage can hold. And so it's going to give you that information based on that capacity.
Yeah, I agree. And chat GPT, like it literally, yeah, like you said it's just a reflection of the user, right? It
Yep.
literally cannot disagree with anything that you think. Like it it can't.
That's funny.
Everything that I feed to it now, my chat GPT talks like it's Neville itself. Like
Right. Right. Oh wow. Hey, I'm just a girl. You say you want to come up. You have something you want to add? Are you still here? Let's see.
what's that full of?
No, they gone. I don't see it up here no more. But yeah, we have to learn how to just. I know trusting ourselves is like a big shift, right? Because coming into this reality, we were told to believe everyone but ourselves, right? We were told to, oh, you can, and even be careful with believing in yourself. It's just like, why would you be careful about believing in self? But that's that fear-based mentality. Once you come to your understanding that consciousness only loves and supports you, you'll get away from that mindset of thinking that the world is out to harm you or get you. You got to let go of that mindset. I know the thoughts and plans I have for you, they're to prosper you. They're not to harm you, right? And to give you a future, give you an expected end.
Yeah, that's like the church's favorite line, like "Don't lean towards your own understanding." You know what I mean? And that just like we're
And
too
that
weak.
is scripture. Trust in the Lord with all thy
Yeah,
heart
for sure.
and
Yeah,
lean
yeah,
not unto thy own in all thy ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. It's talking about trying to figure out how to get the thing. See, they don't understand that the Bible is
right.
talking about your desires, right? Don't try to make things happen. They happen what? As a result of your beliefs. That's what that scripture is talking about, right? Remember, the Bible psychological truth is telling you how to bring your thoughts, make your thoughts manifest, right? That's all that scripture is telling you. You don't
According
try
to
to
your
figure it out.
thinking.
It's not up to you. The
Yeah,
ways of the infinite, the ways of the divine mind is past finding out. You couldn't make things happen even if you tried. And the thing is, we think we're making things happen, but we're not. Things are happening as a result of your beliefs. You don't make anything happen. As much as people say, I sweat and sweat, blood and tears, and I did this and I did that. You worked. You did a lot of movement, but the reason things happened was because of your thoughts. It was always because of your thoughts. Always.
So do you think like that we
I believe
can
it's Proverbs. I'm sorry. I believe it's Proverbs
oh,
3,
it's okay.
5, and 6. I believe Hummingbird. But go ahead, Janine.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you now that I'm thinking of something, did we kind of give people who we thought we would say, "Oh, you're just conceited"? Do we think that did we give them like a bad rep because they love themselves, and because they love themselves we were like, "You're just conceited"? Well, maybe they weren't conceited. Maybe they did love themselves like they should have been loving themselves, like we should have been loving ourselves.
We don't
Yeah, and
like
they trust
overly
themselves.
confident people, right? Overly confident people, we call them conceited and arrogant, right?
Right.
We don't like people that's too sure of themselves. Oh, you need to humble. You need to be humble. You need humility. They like people to play small.
Yes. We
Well,
gave them
it
a
did, but
bad
here's the
rap.
thing. Is it they like for people to play small or you weren't as confident as you said? Because people actually like a confident person. People
Right.
don't like people that belittle others.
Mm.
Right? So is your confidence making are you playing big and putting others down? Are you letting your light shine by dimming others? That's what you have to be careful of, right? Because then you're actually showing your insecurity. You're not actually operating from confidence, because confidence doesn't need to dim another in order for you to shine. You don't have to put down another person in order for you to be great. Everyone can be great.
Right. Okay. I just thought about that. I was just like, wait a minute. Did they get a bad rap?
But remember,
Whatever
there's
they
no
said.
they, right? They created the reality of not
Yeah.
really having confidence in themselves, because when you really have confidence in yourself, you know, you're really not going to care what other people say. Care because you're going to
Right.
know who you are. It ain't going to bother you.
I'm so good for that. I mean, hey, it's just who I am. I don't care what you think of me.
That's a you problem,
Okay.
not a me problem.
Exactly.
But remember, everything is mirroring you. Everything is coming. So if you're taking issue with it, that means that there's something in you need to.
Right.
You got to fix that mirror. And how do you fix the mirror? You got to from the inside out.
Inside out.
Yep.
So within, so without. Okay.
Yep. Hello, I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
Hi everyone, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great. How about yourself?
Hello.
I'm doing great. I'm just here cooking and enjoying the conversation. I really appreciate how you guys link. I think I've been listening to you for maybe like 3 or 4 days, on and off. And what I've noticed is that, you're using the spiritual aspect that everybody talks about with the Bible, because that's, even though I'm not well versed in the Bible, I have had an understanding that basically all religion is teaching the same thing, right? To love yourself, and you are God, right? And the more you love yourself, the more you can project that, the more things can align for you, etc., etc. So I really just enjoy the conversation when, especially when you're referencing the Bible, because I haven't gone into depth into reading it in that way. So I like being enlightened in that way.
Oh, well, thank you, and welcome, welcome to the community. We're glad to have you. Glad.
Yes.
Yes, yes, thank you. Yeah, we just come here and just help one another grow and understand, and you know, I do try to, from my perspective, you know, I think my from my perspective, I see just keeping us like on a straight and narrow, not veering off to the left or too far to the right, just like maintaining the having the tunnel vision and keeping our goals in sight. And because I'm really just talking to me, right? You're just my reflections, right? You're my projections of, you know, myself, my consciousness. And so really I'm just reminding myself, like, you cannot point fingers. You if something's going on out there, it's because of what's going on in here. What's going on in here? Let's transform it. Let's transmute it. Let's get it together.
That's absolutely true. Like with my experience, mine happened, I think, in like 2019, when I really became aware of what is right. And since then, I often like drift back from I don't know how to explain it. Like what I had experienced during that time, I would say was like a nirvana type of situation where everything was just perfect for me, not in the sense of like I had everything that I wanted materialistically or whatever the case may have been, but I had this sense, like this feeling that I can't even describe, right? To the point that I would walk around and people would just come to me and be like, I don't know what it is. And I remember there was a man who came up to me. He said, hey, I see a glowing light around you. And at the time, I felt so embarrassed because I was wearing like a mini skirt and like I had a nice outfit, which maybe was a little inappropriate at the time then. But I'm like, he sees a glowing light. And I didn't understand what he was saying until now. And now, like when I fast forward, I have lost a sense of that because of my environment and just different things that have just been happening in my life. And I'm always yearning to go back to that. And it's a really difficult thing because there's always these external things that are always happening, right? Either just experiencing different aspects of you and different people and not being to manage that. And what COVID did for me was it removed me from experiencing other forms of consciousness so I could really focus and really grow whatever that thing was that I'm describing to you guys. But now post COVID, it's kind of like when people ask, are you really at peace or are you just avoiding people? And I feel like now that I am submerged with other people and their experiences and what they're experiencing in life, it's difficult for me to kind of ground myself and bring myself back to that feeling that I felt in 2019. Like I was never able to feel it again. And I just really struggle with centering myself so that I am perfectly aligned so I can outwardly express the best version of me, if that makes sense.
It does. And the question I would have, yes, when COVID, right, you really couldn't be around other people, so you didn't have an opportunity to quote unquote judge, right? Because being by yourself, there's no one but you. There's no other reflections of you, right? Because when we go around other people, they really are our reflections. But that's the part that's difficult because it's like, how are they me? Like, I'm seeing in them things that I would never say of me. That's it, though. They're showing you things that you have to let go of, not judge, not condemn, not criticize, but just be aware so you can transform, right? Because your world is always going to show you exactly who you are. And so if you're looking at your world and you're like, oh my goodness, it's just all over the place, it's chaotic, you know, it's low vibrational, it's negative, so what's going on within you? You have to ask yourself, why am I perceiving my world from that place? Why am I still choosing to see to judge things from a and be condemning it, basically? And that's why I use scripture. So scripture says to be judge, but be careful how you judge. Because the measure that you use will be measured back to you. It also says, judge not, and you won't be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. I believe you absolutely can get back to that place of bliss and nirvana as you described it, when you can start to look upon your world and just see it as an experience and choosing not to eat off the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which means I'm no longer going to see those in my world as right or wrong, good or bad or evil. I'm only going to see it as an experience.
That's right. Yeah, and what you're saying resonates too, because that self-awareness never goes away once it's awakened, right? So when I'm having those feelings of either judgment or just of a negative experience, I I remind myself that, oh, excuse me.
Hey, so that's Toya. That's what I was gonna read right there. What you just said was perfect advice for her too. Like it was to the pure, all things are pure. There is nothing unclean in itself, but to those who think it's unclean to him, it is unclean. And that was Romans 14:14. And that reminded me of exactly what you said, the tree of good and evil. Like once they ate that apple, they got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, you know? So it's like, as soon as we start judging, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is evil, da 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 da, it takes us out of that state of consciousness, that the Garden of Eden, you know? I think that plays a major role, and that's really what I'm trying to embody more now, because I still got to catch myself, you know. I still fall from grace with it. Like I still got to catch myself of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Anything I'm seeing out there, I got to fix that up in here, you know.
Yep. What the Bible said, a just man falleth 7 times. And seven is just the esoteric symbol for completion or perfectness, right? We all are, as Paul would say, uh how he put it I can think of the scripture, but I can't think of the scripture. You know how you have it on tip of your tongue, but it just won't. Pressing toward pressing toward the mark of the high calling in Christ Jesus, right? He said that, one thing I do, I press forward and I don't look back, right? Gotta keep pressing forward and don't look back. And we gotta give ourselves grace. We're just way too hard on ourselves. And I know that's the conditioning from the world and from our religious backgrounds, where we want to beat ourselves up and we want to condemn ourselves and we want to just the woe is me, the victim mentality, the oh my goodness, I made a mistake. I can't believe I did this. Oh, I was triggered. I was this. And it's just like, just it's okay. It's okay. It's
I had that yesterday. I was like, man, I was like, I know way too much to be feeling what I'm feeling right now, you know? And it's like, you're right. We got to give ourselves grace. Like, it's a lifetime journey, you know?
it is.
And like Paul said, I died daily. That's one of my favorites. Like,
Yep, I die daily.
I got to
Yep.
kill something off every day. So,
Hmm.
I think that when COVID happened, and we all had to be locked in, I think that it wasn't necessarily a bad thing because it caused a lot of people to reflect. They didn't have anything outside of them, no coworkers, none of that. So it kind of gave people time to go inward to kind of reflect on themselves. And then when we came back out, we kind of said, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with that, as opposed to dealing with stuff before. So COVID, in some perspectives, it really wasn't so bad because it caused a lot of people to know to go inward to say, hey, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. And it kind of gave them a chance to reflect on the inside of themselves.
I always say COVID was the best time of my life. That's when I really had time to stop chasing, stop moving, stop running. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
sit down,
Yes.
and that's when I started
Absolutely.
waking up, realizing things, whatever. But that was the time. It was the best time of my life.
Me
And I
too.
was telling my sister, I was like, man, if I can go live on a mountain somewhere with nobody around, I'll be in heaven every day. But
Boy, I said the same thing.
yeah, but that's not what it's
Yes.
about. We gotta
We got
embody
an
this.
island unto ourselves, right? We're
Right.
supposed to be out here preaching. We're supposed to be spreading this good news. We're supposed to be letting our light so shine, and y'all
Right.
trying to hide it under a bushel. He said, "Could
Try to
the
let y'all
light
see it
be
from
hid
the
under a
mountaintop.
bushel? Y'all gotta take that bushel off, and y'all gotta let that light shine, so men shall what
Yeah.
see your good works and glorify who." Your God in heaven. Like, come on now. We supposed to be letting this light shine. We're not supposed to be hiding it.
Royal was trying to be on on the mountain like Moses.
I was trying to be up there like, yeah, they was like, look at the mountain, look at that light. Yeah. But we gotta embody this and it's every day, especially in the mirror. So,
Hey, okay, here's another gem from Neville. Because this is about changing self. This is all about no one to change but self. There is no other way to change this world. I am the way. My I amness, my consciousness is the way by which I change my world. As I change my concept of self, I change my world. When men and women help or hinder us, they only play the part that we, by our concept of self, wrote for them. And they play it automatically. They must play the parts they are playing because we are what we are. It's because of us. There's no other cause. Everyone showing up in our world, they're coming to us because why? The Father within, which is our own I amness, our own consciousness, drew them to us. We're the magnet. We're the broadcaster. We're the antenna. We're the channel for which every experience flows. Everything comes through us. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. No man comes to me. No manifestation comes to me unless the Father within me draws him.
So does the evolution come from our desires?
What do you mean by evolution?
So, okay, so we just said that, this is a lifetime, our position is a lifetime, but we understand that, because you repeated where there is no time, right? And the only thing it seems like the only, next step is just whatever our desires are, whatever our desires are to be, is that's our road, or that's our, that's, I don't know.
Well, I know the statement was made that it's a lifetime, and it's here's the thing. We have to understand that we're not trying to be, we already are, and that's what we have to transform. The thinking that we're trying to be something. We're not trying to be anything. We already are. God is. We're already complete. We're already whole. It's about accepting the truth that that's who we are. And so we're always dying to the belief that we're something other than whole, complete, love, joy, peace, prosperity, success, harmony. That's who we are. We have to die to the belief that we're anything other than that. So anytime you encounter something that you would call imperfect, that's what has to be alchemized. That's what has to be transmuted. God is perfect, is complete, is whole, lacks no good thing. It's about recognizing, acknowledging, accepting that truth. And you only know it through experience. So that's why he says, he quotes Paul, he made himself one with God and thought it not strange or robbery to do the works of God. You always bear fruit in harmony with what you are. It is the most natural thing in the world for a pear tree to bear pears, an apple tree to bear apples, and for man to mold the circumstances of his life in harmony with his inner nature. And you're supposed to realize that your inner nature is what?
God.
Christ. Right. The power and wisdom of God. You're God. And that's what we're supposed to we're supposed to actualize that. We're supposed to express that.
So we don't place perfection on ourselves, right? But we understand that we are God in perfection. We're
So what do you mean by perfection?
because okay, we say we God, you know what I'm saying, but we're not. Of course, we're not the God, right? So we don't place that perfection on us in terms of like that. I guess
When you
that
say place that perfection, what do you mean? What do you mean by perfection?
I guess that like that side of ego, maybe like, side of ego where it's like, okay, we are God, and sort of like you can't tell me nothing.
I don't know when you say ego. What's the ego?
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, I'll figure it out.
It's like you're struggling with accepting that you're God, because you're like, we're not God. We God, but we're not God. What does that mean? We God, but we're not God.
Right. Okay.
No, let's talk it through. Let's right, like we're God objectified in human form. We're God made flesh, right? It's not the physical body that's God. No, it's not the personality. Toyia isn't God. The invisible, the I am, the consciousness, my awareness of being, my I amness, that's God. The part of me you cannot see, the part of you that can hear without you moving your mouth or using your vocal cords. The part of you that can see when you close your eyes and I say, picture a football and you can see that. That's God. If I tell you to say football within yourself and don't use your mouth, you said it and you heard it and you saw it. That's God.
Right.
And I think Neville said something about that in this chapter. I can't find it in my notes, but it was something where he was saying, until we see perfection, what was it? It was something about perfection though. It was like seeing the perfection in us, like the God in us, right? But it was something about seeing the perfection in us. We will see it in the world. Like we will see the purity in the world when we see the purity in ourselves. So
Yep.
anything, and that's why what we were talking about earlier, like just dealing with other people, it's really just again a mirror reflection of some trash that we might have inside that we haven't dealt with, faced, or looked at, or
It's funny. I just found the paragraph.
perfect. There you go.
Royal.
There you go.
He
I was
says,
probably butchering it. Thank you.
"No, no, no, no. You good? I just want to
Okay.
read what you were talking
Paraphrasing,
about."
huh?
Yeah, I was
He said,
paraphrasing.
he said, "I can only give what I am. I have no other gift to give. If I want the world to be perfect, and who does not, I have failed only because I did not know that I could never see it perfect until I myself become perfect. If I am not perfect, I cannot see perfection. But the day that I become it, I beautify my world because I see it through my own eyes." And then he quotes Titus 1 and 15. "Unto the pure, all things are pure."
Yes.
So we are perfect.
Absolutely.
And then he also said everything is filtered through your concept of self. So that's why it'll kind of blur our perfection up, or when we see the bad or whatever we judging in other people, it's because we looking at that from a lens of how we perceive ourselves. So I
Yep.
can see the flaws and everything in you because there's some flaws in me that I might be judging. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So okay, is the conclusion here that if you're seeing the bad in somebody else, you're assuming based on your own life experiences that, okay, let's say um, somebody lashed out at you about something, right? And you're assuming that that person is a bad person. Are you then making that assumption based on what you would do if you were in their shoes, not exactly just determining it any other way?
And it's not even necessarily what you would do in their shoes, is that you've been told there's a such thing as right or good or bad. Right? You say that you have an assumption of what quote unquote good behavior or bad behavior is. And so based on your experience with it, you're saying this should not be happening. But you're the only one saying it. You're the only one thinking it. So you're the only one creating it. If you give it a different perspective, you're the one giving meaning to it, basically, right? You're saying it should not be this way, it should be that way.
That's right. So by you not naming it as either good or nor bad, then it just is that way, I think.
That's it.
And I also believe like even when we're not judging it, like if we don't judge it, then sometimes some people will just fall away. You don't even have to be like you're a bad person, get away from me. Like you'll just notice once you change concept of self, some people just gonna fall, not fall behind, but just get away from you. Like your light is too bright there, and
Yeah, because
So
scripture tells you to judge righteous judgment. So, what is righteous judgment? Thinking right about a thing. That's all righteousness means, to think right about a thing. And so then the question is, well, how do I think right about a thing? It should always be from love. So then you have to ask yourself, how do I see things from a loving place? That's why I use I'm about to say Romans, not Romans. First Corinthians, the 13th chapter, the 4th through the 8th verse. It tells you what love is. Love is patient, which means it perseveres. It's kind. That means it's generous. It's understanding, right? It says it keeps no records of wrong. It is not easily offended or angered. It is not puffed up or proud. It does not see evil. It does not rejoice in evil, but rejoices in truth, right? It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things. Love never fails. So when you operate from a position of love, you don't see anything other than God. When you can say, I am everything and everything is I am, you no longer judge it from a place of less than I am, which is God. You'll never judge it less than God because there's only God. There's nothing but God in the world.
Okay, I have this experience with this one of the people that I mentioned earlier in my life that's really struggling right now, like financially.
Mm-hmm.
And the financial struggle has brought on like depression for that person, or this is my perception of it, right? So I, there was like some discomfort for me because at first I went through like this stage of like, oh, okay, I don't know what to do about it. Then maybe um, I'll just tell you what I came to at the end of it was that, oh wait, this person is God. This person is consciousness, just like me, and so that means that they're not stuck. They're not unsafe or anything like that. Anything that's happening or whatever or seems to be happening with them is an appearance. Really, they're always okay, and I can go within my imagination and see them as okay and maintain my knowing that they are. And then whatever seems to be happening with them, I know the truth. But they're God, and just like me, you know, sometimes internally I'm dealing with I like to, I guess I call it the separate self, which is basically just like the logical mind telling you all of these things like, oh, that's not realistic, or this can't happen, or that can't happen, or a lot of the times the logical mind might try to tell you that none of this stuff is real, you can't manifest, or your self-concept doesn't determine your world and stuff like that. And I recognize that, just like I have, my logical side speaking to me, the logical mind is speaking to them too. But they're just paying more attention to it than I am. But they're still God. So they're okay. And that gave me a lot of relief. And, I know it's going to give them relief too. It's just that, it's unfolding perfectly in the 3D. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, guys, we've come upon the 2 hour mark. So I'm going to close out the book club meeting. I do appreciate everyone for joining. This was a wonderful, wonderful live, a wonderful, wonderful meeting.
Absolutely.
You just have to remember that we are always experiencing our own thoughts, and the thoughts create our beliefs. And a belief is just a thought you keep on thinking. So if you want to experience something differently, you have to choose to continue to think something differently. Persist in the new thought, and then the thought becomes a reality. It's that simple. We would love to complicate it. We would like to say, but what about the people in my world? But what about the people in my world? The people in your world are peopled by you. They're your thoughts made manifest. They're there to show you who you are. They're there to either help you or hinder you based on your beliefs. It's based on this. Remember, you're the producer, the author, director, and the star. I'm going to add editor because, yes, you can redact, you can edit out any experience because you are the author. You get to change the story. You get to rewrite the script if you don't like how people are playing their part. Their parts are based on your script. So if you don't like their parts, change the script. How do you change the script? Got to change your mind. Change your mind. You what? Change your world.
Can I say one last thing?
Of course.
So today I received a raise, but the best thing the best thing was I got some gifts with my raise, which surprised me. So today, that's why I gave out more gifts, because today I received some gifts.
Beautiful.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I thought I
Congratulations.
would give too.
Hey, that's beautiful. Hey, super conscious, we about to close out. I know you came late, but we've been on for like 2 hours, so I
Thank you,
appreciate you
everybody, for coming.
guys.
This is
Thanks,
definitely
everyone. Thanks,
Yes,
everyone. I
super,
thank you
super
appreciate it.
guys.
awesome.
So we'll finish up if we need to like wrap anything up from lesson 4. But the plan is to do lesson 5 next week, same time, Thursday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be hopefully finishing up lesson 5. If not, we may extend it for one more week just to
I'm gonna holler at
put
you.
a nice little bow on it, tie it up and put a nice little pretty
Yeah,
bow
you
on
do,
it.
bro.
Okay, sounds
At
good.
least once a
Sounds
day.
All
good.
right. Thank you
All right,
guys
y'all
so
have a
much.
good night.
Enjoy the
All
rest of
right.
your evening. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, y'all. Take care. Bye bye.